Be a beautiful day to be outside, wouldn't it?
I'm always on time. I'm ahead of the game. I'm first place. I'm in my prime. Hard work that pays off. I pay dues. I'm paid off. Cross me, get crossed off.
We'll race anything around here. Even the odd penny farthing.
It's been a challenging start to the NBL Blitz for the Perth Wildcats and the Cairns Taipans. Both teams yet to record a victory. So needless to say, albeit because of the pre-season, but both teams desperate to get on the winners list today. Hello and welcome to our Super Sunday at the NBL Blitz. It's day 8 as we've got the Wildcats and the Taipans up first. A little later on, the 36ers and the Jack Jumpers. Jack Heverin joined alongside Liam Santamaria, the beautiful Ulverston Sports and Leisure Centre. Hello, Liam.
Hello, Jack. Good to be back with you. And yeah, nice to see a bunch of Taswegians in the building. Should be a good, fun afternoon of hoops. And as you say, Perth and Cairns, two teams with brand new head coaches who are trying to find their feet here in the pre-season.
Take a look at both teams for today. The Taipans will be almost at full strength. Kawat Noi not playing. Nothing to be too concerned about. Just being rested. For the Wildcats, Jack Purchase, similar, has pulled up a little sore from the last game. He won't play today. And as has been the case during the Blitz, Mitch Norton, Todd Blanchfield and Corey Sherville all won't be out there as well. Their injuries are a little more long-term. What's going on with the Wildcats, Liam? We touched on them yesterday. For the Red Army who are watching in Perth right now on KO Freebies, is it just a case of this taking a bit longer to all click in?
Well, it's only been 2 games. You know, I mean, how quick does it need to happen? 2 pre-season games. They've only been with their head coach in person for a week or so. So, brand new head coach. They're not building on anything with Scott Morrison from previous years. So, it's a new system. You've got a bunch of guys on this team who have been running the same offensive structure for a number of years, and everything is brand new right now. So they are still getting used to that. You can see it's a bit clunky at the offensive end. Look, there's Vic Law, Matt Hodgson, 2 key pieces that are new to the mix as well. So they're still finding their feet defensively. It's very much a work in progress at both ends of the floor. And as we mentioned yesterday when I spoke to Scott Morrison recently, he made the point. He said, look, we're not trying to win the Blitz. We're trying to win the title. So we're going to use the Blitz to take steps forward game after game and get ready for the regular season.
Starting 5s, Vic Law, Kevin White, Bryce Cotton, Matt Hodgson, Luke Travers for the Wildcats. For the Taipans, Scott Machado, Mirko Jeric, Majuk Deng, Tajir McCall back into the team today. Didn't play in the second game. And big Steven Zimmerman, who's been good in the 2 games he's played so far. What about that for a start for Perth? White with an easy lob for Hodgson.
I like that play. Use Bryce Cotton as a screener because his man doesn't want to leave him. And the lob play for Hodgson wasn't the thunderous finish above the rim they were looking for, but 2 points nonetheless.
So they're 2 games so far, Perth. They played Adelaide last Tuesday. That was fair to say it was a grind for both teams. 63-58 final score there. And then on Friday, much more high scoring. Went down by 10, 100-90 against the Bullets. Zimmerman short on his first attempt. Cotton. That's Hodgson at mid-range. Shot clock down to 9 now for Kevin White. Travers putting the ball on the floor and took a couple of steps before he did that.
Just needs to let that fly. Luke Travers lacking a little confidence from long range. Something he needs to show the scouts this year as he heads towards the 2022 NBA draft is that he can shoot that thing. 0 of 4 from three-point territory across their first 2 games. Just needs to let that fly.
Mentioned Tajir McCall is bringing the ball up the floor here. Rested in the second game. Showed a lot of promise in the first. 16 points and 8 rebounds. He's an energy player, Liam, and they've been a little flat to start with, Cairns, but when Tajir McCall was on the floor, he brought an energy and kind of got everyone going with him.
He's going to be huge for them, no doubt. It was a rough call there against Kevin White. Just held his ground, and McCall ran into him. But no, you're right. He's a really good signing. And he's going to bring a bunch of positive energy for them at both ends of the floor, and especially defensively as the Taipans turn it over. That's been an issue for them thus far in the blitz. You saw in the opening possession, McCall goes straight to Bryce Cotton. He's going to be their primary perimeter defender, and he's going to have the job against the leading scorers across the league.
Crowd starting to build at the Ulverston Sports and Leisure Centre. Vic Law long on the 3. Jack jumpers coming up next against the 36ers. McCall runs the floor and scores with an extra free throw to come.
And that's what he's going to give you offensively. You know, he's knocked down a couple. He knocked down, what, I think 2 or 3 from long range in that first game where he had 16 points. But it's not his strength. He's more of a slasher, and I've been comparing him in the off season to a bit like Justin Simon in terms of the impact he's going to have. But this is a guy, all G League defensive team last year, won a championship with Lakeland Magic alongside Robert Franks, former teammate of Mitch Creek at Long Island. And it's a guy that a lot of NBL teams have had their eyes on in recent years. And when the Taipans signed him up, a bunch of people around the league saying that's a really good signing. He's going to be really good in the NBL.
Early stages of the opening quarter. Both teams playing their 3rd game of the NBL Blitz. Jarrett couldn't get his 3 ball away. Last touch by Cotton. The Taipans, their 2 games so far, they played Adelaide first up, went down by 4 in a pretty spirited contest, but there was just 3 or 4 minute portions of that game that cost the Taipans. And their loss to Tasmania on Tuesday was not their best showing, and you could see the frustration starting to build with them. Nice hands from Hodgson. There's Law, baseline take, and that's a hard landing for Tajir McCall. Looks to be okay. Yeah.
That was a worry. Came down hard as Law got underneath him as he was landing McCall. And Law's unhappy. Felt like he should have got a call on the finish. But down the other end, Steven Zimmerman has to be way more aggressive than that. One little crowd dribble, picked up the ball, and then the turnover ensued. After their first game, Adam Ford made the comment, and I'm pretty sure he spoke to him at halftime of that game, saying, mate, you're one of our go-to guys. Like, we brought you in. You can get numbers. When we roll it to you in the block, we need you to go to work. And, you know, he's had 2 double-doubles, 18 and 11, 16 and 11. He needs to make sure he's aggressive when he catches it around the paint.
Machado showing a little more aggression, but couldn't finish off. McCall on the scene. Likewise for him. There he is, the Pennsylvania native, 27 years of age. Did the Taipans' first game, Liam, with Damon Lowry. We'll get back to this in a moment as Perth break through the press. Vic Law trying to get to work on Majuk Deng. Used his body perfectly and the points will count.
He's so tough down there, Vic Law. if you're going to play him single coverage in the block, that's well and truly to his advantage. And he didn't see much single coverage last season for Brisbane. And, you know, as a result, you saw him starting to face up more and more over the course of that season, trying to avoid that extra defensive pressure. But this is something that the Wildcats need to make sure they explore early and often. Vic Law, put him in the block, see how the defense is going to respond, let him go to work.
So how does that work in terms of working in with Bryce Cotton, who Perth for so long have really gone out of their way early in games to get Bryce going?
Well, it could be a beautiful thing if they use it appropriately, because if you double, now you're in rotations, kick, maybe you're leaving Bryce open on the perimeter. You don't want to be doing that as Zimmerman turns it over again. So if you're going to stay at home, well, Vic Law's going to go to work.
Travis passes up the three. Vic Law won't. He's feeling good. He started this game well. Has 6 of the Wildcats' 8 points.
And that's what makes him so tough. You know, he has that inside-outside game. I think he's best. They played him at the 3 to begin a lot in that first game. It was a little awkward. I think he's a 4 in the NBL. Now, you can slide him up and down a little bit, but primarily he's a 4. He can go to work in the block and then stretch out, knock it down like he did just there.
Taipans really struggling to look after the ball. Jawai into the game. And again, they throw it away. Law will have the size advantage over Machado. Use that to his advantage. He's got 8 of their 10.
He's feeling good. Got going in the block. Now he's had 3 straight buckets. And he's ticking it over.
10-2. The Wildcats looking a little more clinical to start this game than what they have been so far. White left open in the corner. Stands up and delivers. Alarm bells ringing here for the Taipans. They need a score. They go down to Jawai. And then out for Majuk Deng. That's a much-needed basket.
Nice find from Jawai too. Vic Law digging in, trying to help out in the block. And Jawai, always a willing passer, found the open man.
13-5 at the Ulverston Sports and Leisure Centre. The NBL Blitz on the road. Taking it right across Tasmania. Giving Hoops fans a good look at some of the best players in the NBL before everything starts on December the 3rd. Machado walking the tightrope of the baseline. McCall dashing through. What a pass for Jawai.
Oh, that was nice from McCall. Turned down the three-point look and then creative as he attacked the hoop. Found the big fella underneath.
Back-to-back buckets for the Taipans, and it starts to look a little more respectable with 5 minutes to go before quarter time.
And that's sometimes what can happen for Cairns with Nate Jawai coming off the bench. He's a problem. It's a problem to be solved down there in the low block. So they roll it into him. The double kind of almost comes. Open shot on the perimeter. And then they give it to him again. Then they are able to make something happen. McCall attacks the closeout. And right here over his head finds Jawai for the flush.
Didn't play in the first game, Nate Jawai. Had 7 and 4 in the second. Found the going a little difficult. Tassie put a lot of work into him when he was on the floor.
He'd have good memories of this building, Nate Jawai. Last time the Taipans played in Ulverston at the Blitz 2 years ago, he had the tip-in game winner.
That's right.
Against the Adelaide 36ers.
It's all coming back to me now.
0.1 on the clock. Big Eric Griffin fails to block out, and Jawai right on the spot tips it in for the game winner.
Adam Ford, who in his second season as a head coach in the NBL, spent the one at Sydney last year. Didn't take the Taipans too long to snap him up.
I remember him saying it was his first ever game winner.
Was it?
Nate Jawai, yeah. That one
well, I suppose
2 years ago.
The bigs don't hit too many game winners, do they? It's generally the guards. Or a Finn Delaney like yesterday.
Wasn't that special?
I'm told reliably that clip has been doing bulk numbers on social media, the Finn Delaney game winner.
as well as the Hugo Besson baseline banger.
McCall slips over. Gives it up. And Majuk subbed into the game for Perth. Back after missing all of last season with an Achilles issue. Had 8 and 5 in the first game, 11 and 4 in their loss to Brisbane on Friday. He looks really fit and really healthy, which is good news for Perth. There he is. Couldn't really in the long rebound. McCall has Deng working up the floor. They've got it back to a 4-point game. Cotton with the left hand under pressure was able to finish off his first points of the afternoon. That's an offensive foul this time around. Majuk Deng got caught up.
He's been pretty good, Majuk Deng. We talk about Kwat Noi coming back from injury. So, Deng came back late last season, and actually he was terrific when he came back from that injury, averaging 5 and 6 over their first 2 preseason hit-outs. That's one Taipan who has looked pretty good thus far.
16 games he missed last year with a knee injury in a season that just nothing went right for the Taipans. Jawai plays through the bump and scores.
Great find from Machado. Just probing in transition, keeps his dribble alive as he snakes his way across the lane. And Jawai, good movement, good timing, good combination between Machado and the big fella.
Seventh season as a Taipan. Did play with the Wildcats, was part of their team in 2016 that won it.
This is an interesting lineup Adam Ford's rolling with right now. Jawai's come out and had a good impact. He's put Zimmerman back in the game. Two-headed monster.
I don't think we've seen a lot of that so far in the Blitz. So it'll be interesting to take a look at it. Wagstaff has Zunic flashing to the basket. Had his shot changed by the tall timber.
I'll be honest, I didn't expect to see much of it over the course of the entire season. But Adam Ford, this is what you do in the preseason. You have a look at some things. I think it was a couple of seasons ago. I don't think Andre Lamanis would have expected to play Matt Hodgson and Will Magnate together very much. But as that season panned out, they found that was actually not a bad combination. We saw, the Hawks a couple of seasons ago as Jerick peels off a long-range bomb, ties it up at 15. Matt Flynn started that season with the 2 bigs, Boone and Ogilvie, and then they veered away from that. Well, Adam Ford's just having a little look at Zimmerman and Jawai together.
We're tied away at 15. Taipans have fought back well after a bit of a scrappy start. Machado scoreless so far. And Jawai posting up. Guarded by Majuk. Gets to his right hand. That's vintage Nate.
Good work from the big fella. And this is what I'm talking about these teams just sort of still developing the chemistry as the Wildcats attack and Cotton gets left open, makes the defense pay. A guy like Tajir McCall, he hasn't really played much with Nate Jawai before. He looked at him in the post and didn't throw it in. Foul called on Kyle Zuni. He's got Machado pointed. Said, no, mate. When Big Nate's in the block and he's got his man on his back, we feed the big fella.
Yep.
And that's why, because he is a real problem down there. And right now he's up and about. Got 7 points on the board.
Mitch Clark subbed into the game, wearing number 32 for the Wildcats, as has Michael Frazier. They missed the first game, one of their boom recruits of the off-season. Found they're going Pretty difficult in the first game. Was 0 from 4 from the field. Get them out of the way early.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see where exactly he fits in the pecking order for the Wildcats at the offensive end. You know, we've seen for so many years that, you know, they run everything through Bryce Cotton. When he's on the floor, possession after possession, everybody plays off Bryce. Well, you know, and the wings that he played alongside, you know, you think about Tariko White, these kind of guys. Todd Blanchfield last year, they knew that it was Bryce and we were playing off him. Well, how does that work with a guy like Michael Frazier, who has shown over the course of his career he can put points on the board?
Zimmerman drags down the rebound. And Jared Kenny, his first look, pulls up with numbers against him. Uncontested rebound for Michael Frazier. He'll be looking for his first bucket and he doesn't have to wait long. Nice move. Can breathe a sigh of relief after a donut to start with. Jawai off the glass. Adds in another 2, gets it back to a 2-point ball game.
And this is where things get interesting, I feel, for the Wildcats with their lineup. So right now, no Hodgson, no Majuk. It's Jesse Wagstaff at the 5. He hasn't played the 5 much over the course of his career, hardly at all. And Jawai right there, taking advantage.
It's interesting, this lineup, Perth, with Zimmerman and Jawai on the floor, isn't it? Good luck, Kevin White. Jawai kicks it out. They go straight back to him. This time got the switch on to Wagstaff, but it doesn't matter. Big Nate's cooking in the opening quarter. That's 9.
And Wagstaff just glancing over the bench, so, well, I don't know, what do you want us to do down here? We're going to need to send a double, or Hodgie's going to need to come back out.
Vic Law fouled. Gets the layup to go.
And this is, of course, the way the Wildcats are looking at it. Danny Mills, Troy Georgiou, Scott Morrison, as they put this roster together. So, well, maybe we can go to this kind of smaller ball lineup from time to time. They've decided right now they can't for any longer. Hodgson's coming back into the game, but they've had a look around the league and decided, yeah, okay, there's some good bigs, but there aren't a lot of powerful units in the low block that are going to trouble us over the course of the season. Well, Nate Jawai is definitely one of those, and he has given them problems in this first term.
McCall. It's Jerick, who's played virtually the entire first quarter. In fact, has played the entire first quarter. Starting minutes, sent everyone the other way.
Classy from Jerick. Little pass fake to Jawai. Cleared the room to get off the finger roll, and a nice bucket to finish the quarter for the Taipans.
It wasn't the way they would have wanted to start the game, Cairns, but the way they finished the quarter will be much more of what Adam Ford is looking forward to seeing. They're down 1 after 1.
And they were down 11 early doors, so good fight back. Nate Jawai was the key to all of that. Coming in off the bench, changed things for the Taipans at the offensive end. They were having trouble ticking the scoreboard over, and just his presence in the low block. 11 points. He's the equal game-leading scorer alongside Vic Law. There you see 63% from the field for the Taipans. And if it wasn't for, you know, a few costly turnovers early, they'd have themselves a bit of a lead here. 10-7 on the boards. And the ball movement's been pretty good. Jawai out of the block. To Jim McCall with a couple of nice passes. Of course, Scott Machado with a couple of assists as well. They've got a nice lead in that assist column, 9-4.
Highlights from the first quarter. We sung the praises of Nate Jawai and his impact. Vic Law, 11 points, 4 rebounds in the opening quarter of basketball. That's more like it. He's kind of been teasing us a little bit in the 2 blitz games so far. His full skills are on display in this first quarter.
Yeah, the versatile skill set that he has. Going to work in the block, knocking it in from long range, pulling it up from mid-range. He can score in a variety of ways, Vic Law, and he's a matchup problem. No doubt about it. Majuk Deng can't handle him down low, and then, well, how hard do you want to close him out on the perimeter? Michael Frazier got his first bucket in a Perth Wildcats jersey, and there you see the problems they were having down low with Jawai as they had the small ball lineup with Wagstaff and Law at the 4 and the 5.
Adelaide and Tasmania will kickstart at 3 o'clock Eastern Daylight Savings Time. Bit of a different lineup for Cairns to start the second quarter. Bull Kuol out there. Majuk Deng, Steve Zimmerman, Scott Machado and Jared Kenny. For the Wildcats, Kevin White has played bulk minutes in this first quarter. Mitch Clark, who came in late, will be out on the floor for the Wildcats as well as Hodgson, Law and Frazier. Majuk Deng blows past Vic Law and lays it up. They'll be keen to see that consistently across the season. Injury willing, of course.
No, they need him to be aggressive, no doubt. He needs to be a double-figure scoring for them night in, night out, Majuk Deng. When he's in this type of mindset, he's really tough to guard.
Now he's posting up on Clark. Has Kuol at the top of the key. Rebound falls the way of the Wildcats. Frazier head down on Machado. That's his foul. Machado's first.
You see the strength of Frazier. Machado's pretty strong, but just had that ability to lean in, establish the contact, get a little separation, and draw the foul. Good job from Zimmerman, though. Come in, contest late, just prevent the made bucket, make Frazier earn him from the free throw line.
Crowd starting to build at the Ulverston Sports and Leisure Centre. Had a really good turnout on Friday night. Made plenty of noise and got to see Bryce Cotton turn one on. This should be an easy bucket for Hodgson. Made hard work of it. Kenny almost picked his pocket. (28-26). Early stages of the second quarter. Machado. He's got free throws to come himself. I wanted to ask you earlier about Scott Machado. Did the first game of Cairns Blitz with Damon Lowry, and he was of the view that across this season he wants to see Scott Machado shoot the ball more and have more field goal attempts. So far, he's had 12 and 5 and 9 and 5. Would you agree with that logic? Like, is this really Scott's team now?
It's Scott's teams to run. They need him to be aggressive, make plays like he just did there. Sure, shoot it when he's open on the perimeter, but I don't necessarily agree. I mean, you saw when they were one game away from a grand final appearance, he led the league in assists. You know, he scored it. He struck the right balance, I felt like. And
but they had Cam Oliver.
Well, they did, but Stephen Zimmerman's not the same kind of athlete as Cam Oliver, but can be similarly productive. He's a talented guy. He's got to work his way in a shape. He's come in, he's arrived in Australia not in necessarily peak condition, but it's not going to be above the rim with Stephen Zimmerman. But you set him up, he's going to be able to finish and put numbers on the board. And in that season, Kuwait Noi had a good year. Majuk Deng had a good year. Of course, DJ Newell was the team leading scorer. I think that's what, Scott Machado needs to help get everybody going. He needs, like we said, Noi and Deng need to be big-time scorers, double-figure scorers for this team. Tajir McCall needs to be a guy ticking it over as well. And the thing for Scott Machado, I don't think is the volume, it's the efficiency. I spoke about it a little bit yesterday. That year when they were the giant killers of the competition, shot 40% from three.
Yeah.
And last year it was solid, but it dipped a little down to about 36%. Well, if he can get back to being a sniper from long range, geez, that becomes really tough to guard. You cannot slip under that ball screen. Now all of a sudden he's reading the defense and lobbing it up or finding open guys. So for me, it's more the efficiency rather than getting a whole heap of attempts up.
Long rebound falls to Vic Law. Kicks out for Zunic, who can shoot the three ball. Not that time, though. That missed everything. Timeout called by the Wildcats. 28 each. A couple of minutes gone in the second quarter. Have we got any sort of clue as to what the Adelaide lineup's going to look like today, Liam? We haven't got official word as yet, I don't believe, because in the two games so far, they've very much been rotating their guys through and sitting a few guys along the way as well.
I'm told, sadly, no Kai Soto again this afternoon, so that's a bit of a bummer. I think Tad Dufamayo Jr. might sit this one out as well. So as you say, they're just rotating their guys, trying to make sure everybody's fully fit for opening night. Any little niggles or aches and pains, a little bit like Jack Purchase with his soreness sitting out today. So those guys won't be in uniform, but I understand Todd Withers will make his preseason debut for the 36ers, which will be good. I
spoke to someone during the week in Adelaide who works in sports broadcasting over there, and he was asking me about the 36ers, and he said there's so much hype about them this year. There maybe hasn't been for the last couple of years. He said, but the feeling around town from not just basketball fans but from sports fans in Adelaide is they think this 36ers team could really jump up.
They're intriguing, aren't they? And I'd like to get a bit more of a look at them with their full roster on deck. We haven't seen that yet in the preseason as they've been rotating those bodies. What are those rotations like? Because they got a lot of talent. How, they've got a guy in CJ Bruton getting his first opportunity as a head coach in the NBL, and how does it all come together as Zimmerman can't roll that one in? It's going to be fascinating to watch, but that's a team with a really high ceiling when you look at the pieces that they've got in place.
I look forward to seeing more of Dusty Hannahs today. Not sure he's ever seen a shot that he didn't like, which is good. We like that sort of aggression. Hodgson, soft touch 2, didn't go. Machado, a long way from the basket, picked up his dribble. That's a beautiful find for Zimmerman. He's fouled over the back by Hodgson. Set him up perfectly, exactly what you were talking about.
And that's where when he gets in a bit of better shape and he'll finish a little quicker and a little stronger, I think, Zimmerman. If you go back and watch his highlights, coming out of high school, he was a beast. Playing high school ball there in Las Vegas. He came and played for, of course, the UNLV Running Rebels. And he's just lost a little bit of that bounce and that explosion that he had. And if he can get that back, the plays like that, he'll be finishing with a bit more authority.
.6'11". He sits down. Nate Jawai back in. Jawai was the dominant force on the court in the opening quarter for Cairns. Had 11 points. As Frazier went upstairs. Couldn't finish off with the dunk, and Machado pulls the trigger on the 3. It's short as well. Offensive rebound for Vic Law. Fraser. Feet set this time around. 3 ball not dropping for the Wildcats. The Taipans look to extend their lead. McCall just made it up as he went along and found Nate Jawai.
He is fun. The instincts on McCall right there. Just the vision. He knew he had Jawai trailing and spinning his way into the lane, flipping it behind for the big fella.
Not even sure Nate knew that it was coming. Officials just going to have a chat about this Vic Law contact. as he comes to the bench, looking a little frustrated as well, and that will be an unsportsmanlike foul.
He's just trying to stop the transition attack from the Taipans Law. Out of defensive position, leaning across, reaching across from the side. No real play on the ball. Now, they don't have the replay center during the blitz, the officials, but made the quick call on sportsmanlike. And this is more like it from the Taipans. Getting stops, getting out and running. McCall in the open floor, Machado in the open floor. This is how they need, the pace that they need to bring, which they didn't really have as much over their first couple of preseason hitouts.
No Kuat Noi, if you have just joined us or missed the start of the game, being rested, nothing to worry about for Taipans fans. Two more games to come on Wednesday. They take on the Bullets here at the Ulverston Sports Centre. Machado cutting to the basket. Beautiful dime from Jawai.
Really nice offensive execution. Jawai in the block, the back screen for Machado, cleaned up his guy, and Jawai found him.
Frazier banks it home, starting to get busy. He comes with a reputation of being a pure scorer. We're seeing a little bit of it in the first half here. Machado, nice pass cross court for Mirko Jeric. Not a man that should have that much space. He will bury that three at every opportunity, but Frazier at the other end drains one in the face of Jeric. (39-33). Foul on Majuk.
Well, the Wildcats fans, the Red Army, will be enjoying this from Michael Frazier. They've been waiting to get a good look at him. Well, what's he going to bring for us at the offensive end? And good couple of minutes there. It's a rough first game for him the other day, and he's feeling good right now. Ticking the scoreboard over for the Wildcats.
Travers back into the game, trying to stop Tajir McCall. That's not an easy thing to do.
Well, he's tough to stay in front of, McCall. He's got that quick first step and just wants to get right to the cup. And he has already shown his ability to get creative if you cut off his driving lane and set up his teammates in there, and one finish at the rim.
He's got serious X factor. He's going to throw something really different at a few teams with the way that he plays. Zunic, the defense sagged off. He misses the layup from underneath. Perth get a repeat opportunity. Travers short on the deep ball. He gets another chance. Now Majuk in the low block is fouled.
There's Nate Jawai turning and putting his hand up to Adam Ford saying, my bad. 2 offensive rebounds for the Wildcats, and Jawai was nowhere to be seen. Looking to leak out early and get a head start in offensive transition, and that opened the door for Majuk and Luke Travers to get extra possessions.
Title winner in 2018, Majuk. Very experienced player now at 28 years of age. Taipans lead it. They were down 1 at quarter time. They've had the better of Perth in this second quarter. Jawai with his back to the basket. And Jeric's pass stolen away by Travers with those long arms. Now McCall has his hands full with Cotton. Dumps it down low to Wagstaff. It's a nice finish from the captain.
Nice from Wagstaff. Had the mismatch to the height advantage over Mirko Jeric and didn't try to get too crazy with it. Just got right to home base and shot it over the top.
Had 11 points on 3 of 3 from outside in the first game, Jesse Wagstaff. Jarek missing out there. A little quieter in the second game. And Majuk gets past Jarek and gets upstairs for the dunk. Timeout Taipans as the Wildcats start to make a little bit of a run and make a big dent in this lead.
Good timeout from Adam Ford. They were down 11 early, the Taipans. A moment ago they were up 9, so really good turnaround from them. They were getting control of the game well and truly, but a good response from Perth. These last couple of minutes, a couple of stops, Frazier helped tick the scoreboard over when things were a little dry for Perth, but a couple of possessions where the energy just wasn't quite there on the rotations and their effort defensively. Cairns and Adam Forward just wants to put a stop to it.
Perth's leading scorer is Vic Law with 11. Only player in double figures for them. Nate Jawai, the leading scorer in the game, has 13 points on a perfect 6 of 6 shooting. Mirko Jarek 3 of 3 from the floor as well. Majuk Deng 7 points on 3 of 3 from the floor. We haven't seen Jordan Nartai as yet. Only player alongside the development player Braden Inga to not step on the floor. The Wildcats have used all 9 of their available players so far.
No Keanu Pinder either.
Sorry, yes.
To this point.
Shouldn't forget the Enigma.
Some extended run, of course, for Majuk Deng in that 4 spot. And they had that 2-headed monster for a period of time as well. So Pinder hasn't entered the rotation.
So how do they respond from the timeout, Cairns? They, for much of the quarter, have had it their own way. Perth have changed a few things up and started to get some flow happening their way. Straight back down to the big man. It's been working so far, and that pattern continues.
It's fun to watch, isn't it? It's so fun to watch when Jawai's confident, when the Taipans are feeding him, when the defense is playing him single coverage, and he can go to work. Look at that, 15 first half points for the veteran, who has spoken about how much he just really wants to bring a championship to the Taipans. It's his hometown team, not far from where he grew up in Bamaga. It's where he started his pro career, and he doesn't have a whole bunch of years left on the floor. You wouldn't think, Nate Jawai, but still highly productive and desperate to bring success to the far north.
Misses a bunny there. His first miss of the game. Cotton. Majuk starting to run out of ideas. Wagstaff was running out of room. Picked it up while he was laying flat on the ground. Majuk burrows his way in. It was a little sloppy. They get to the free throw line.
Well, Deng looks like he took a hit to the chops there. There were arms and legs and elbows and hands flying everywhere as Majuk and Jesse Wagstaff tried to make it up as they went along. And
looked like a really awkward game of Twister, that, didn't it?
Deng's come up worse for wear.
Might have caught one in the mush at some point. Majuk Deng, he doesn't seem too happy with it. He thought there was a foul, clearly. This continues to build with every game. More minutes and more responsibility, and looks better every time he's on the floor.
I wonder whether Keanu Pinder might not be playing today, because this would be the moment when he'd check in. Majuk Deng goes out with the blood rule there, and they brought Jordan Nartai in. So they're a little undersized at the 4 spot. That would usually be Pinder in that role.
Travers pushing the issue for Wagstaff. There's Majuk underneath. Right place, right time, as he so often is. Wildcats are now back within 2. Taipans led by as much as 8 earlier this quarter. Zimmerman crashes the glass. Taipans ball. Vic Law doesn't seem all that happy with it. Machado off the inbound for Jarek, who got himself open. It's off the side of the backboard. Still time on the shot clock though for McCall. Work together with Zimmerman. Wagstaff had good position.
He's done that a few times over the course of his career. Wagstaff reads the play so well off the ball, willing to put his body on the line, and took that one right down the numbers.
I know he gave away the offensive foul there, but is that some of that aggression that you were talking about with Steven Zimmerman?
Oh, look, he wants to score. Yeah, he's shown over the course of his career he can put points on the board, and they're going to need to find him off those pick and roll actions. They need to find him in the block there. Gives up the foul on the perimeter, fouling Vic Law as he lets it fly from long range. He needs to be a presence on the offensive glass as well. So, as I said, still working his way through the preseason, getting in peak game playing nick so that he can start the regular season with a bang.
Vic Law was shooting for 3 when Zimmerman got a piece of him. Makes the second.
Played really well the NBA Summer League during the off-season. Vic Law playing for the Lakers, and it was interesting him talking after that, saying, you know, his ankle still wasn't right. So actually, he said, I felt like I was playing on one leg at the Summer League. So he said he was pleasantly sort of surprised in himself to play at a high level. But since he's been in Australia, he's been getting that ankle right, starting to feel a bit better and looking the goods in this one.
So is Mirko Jeric, who's enjoying some extended minutes. He's now got 11 points on 4 of 6 shooting. He's out there to knock down shots, and that's what he's doing. Wagstaff tees one up. Responds at the other end. A minute to play at the Ulverston Sports and Leisure Centre. All locked away at 47. No look pass from Machado to Zimmerman.
Good find. Zimmerman open on the roll. Jeric didn't quite have the angle, but Machado knew he was open and found him.
And there's Cotton putting the Wildcats back in front by 1. Every time you need a bucket, ask and you shall receive from Bryce.
Well, this is a good learning opportunity for a guy like Tajir McCall. Just, you cannot fall asleep on Bryce Cotton for a moment. Just as soon as you think you can relax, he comes running off a pick off the ball, and that's 3 points. Mark it down.
Take a look at this replay. Mirko Jeric. That ball went in, trust me. So enough time for the Wildcats to manufacture something. Cotton lost it. But the Wildcats keep their 1 point lead. At one stage down 8 in the quarter. The back half of it was theirs. They lead 50-49 over the Cairns Taipans as we head in towards half time. Little health check for both teams, Liam. How are they tracking?
I think both coaches will be pretty happy with a lot of what they've seen in that opening half. Look, both teams were tested. The Taipans were asleep to begin the game, down 9 early, and a really good response. They came tearing back. Vic Law's had a good first half. He's got 13. He's the team leading scorer with 13. Tajir McCall had some nice moments. Nate Juwai was outstanding. He's the game leading scorer with 15. And after the Taipans responded early, they got up 11. And it looked, they got up 9. The Wildcats were up 11 early. So it looked, each team had a moment throughout the first half where they were tested, where it looked like maybe things were going to get away from them. And they responded. So some good signs, but neither of these teams have a win on the board thus far in the Blitz. So I think each of the coaches would be pretty pleased overall with how their team's been managed to navigate that first half.
What about Michael Frazier? 8 points, 3 of 6 shooting, 3 rebounds, has played 7.5, nearly 8 minutes of the first half. Will Scott Morrison kind of give him his head a little bit more in the second and try and get a bit more game time, do you think?
Yeah, I think so, and maybe they can run some, a few more plays for him as well. Make him a bit of a focus for a period of time, get his confidence up and about, because, they're his first points as a Wildcat, and he had a couple of minutes there where he looked like he was heating up.
50-49 at the main break at the Ulverston Sports and Leisure Centre. Still to come later on this afternoon. Adelaide take on the Tasmania Jack Jumpers. But a short break from us here at the NBL Blitz, and we're back with the second half shortly on KO Freebies.
I reckon fouls won't make a bit of difference. A little bit fiery too. Oh, down there, that was just a head flash. You're going to get that.
We'll race anything around here. Even the odd penny farthing. Oh yeah, well that's good. The biggest thing, this is all right. It's going to be a lot different than what we're doing tonight. Yeah, but we're going to be using this one. But the main thing is we've got to get these little buttons down and the laptop. Deb and I'll let Deb do all that and I'll stay up here. But Vic can show you what to do, just in case we're not available or something. It worries me. Yeah.
Moved to Hobart, took it to Hobart. And he was a bit evasive about where he was leaving. We happened to be down to Hobart and Thurston rang us up and said he's out in trouble. So Debbie, he got him out to the beach. I wouldn't do the clinic. Jack up his clinic. No. He took our card, he was out of contract for him, and he wouldn't bring it back.
Welcome back to the NBL Blitz on KO Freebies. Half-time in our first game of our Sunday doubleheader. The Perth Wildcats leading the Cairns Taipans 50-49. Taking a look at some of the major numbers on your screen right now as well. Up next, the Adelaide 36ers and the Tasmania Jack Jumpers will go head-to-head. The crowd building at the Ulverston Sports and Leisure Centre to see the JJs. How have you seen the JJs so far, Liam?
I've been impressed. I don't have sky-high kind of expectations for them over the course of the season. Always really hard for an expansion team in year one. So the expectations should be low on them coming in, and if they can exceed them, great. But as long as they play, they're competitive, they're playing an entertaining brand of basketball, and they're building some foundations for moving forward, then that'll be a big tick for me. And the signs so far have been really good. I like the way they're going about it. I like the energy about that group.
Yeah.
I like the fact that they look like they're playing for each other. They're playing hard for Scott Roth. Getting up the floor defensively, moving the ball at the offensive end, and they've got some fun as well. I mean, Josh Adams is an excitement machine. You saw that lefty leaning throwdown he had in their opening game. We're going to see a bunch more of those types of finishes from him over the course of the year. So, no, I think they've ticked all the boxes they needed to tick so far in their first couple of games.
So they're coming up a little later on. Any update as to what their lineup's going to look like today?
Scott Roth tells me we're going to get our first look at Will Magnay
Wow, okay, I didn't know that.
this afternoon in the Jack Jumpers.
I
colours.
thought we wouldn't see Will Magnay in the Blitz. That's kind of exciting.
Yeah, no, he tells me so minutes restriction, and they'll probably get it all done in the first half. So expect about 12 to 14 minutes of Will Magnay in the opening half. They'll shut him down at half time as they build him up for the start of the regular season, but expect him to be in their starting lineup and play his first minutes for the Ants.
How important is he, and is he going to be fit, healthy and well and all that sort of stuff for Tasmania? Does so much of their chances swing on Will Magnay?
Well, he's going to be big for them, of course. He's going to be their primary big, their primary five-man, and he needs to have a big season, and not be just kind of like a bit player. He needs to be back to his kind of athletic, bouncy self that he was in Brisbane that got him those NBA looks. He's had the off-season ankle surgery that limited him while he was with the Wildcats late last season. And, all reports are that, he's coming along nicely as they kind of wind him up to opening night. But he needs to have a big year. He's their primary local talent. You know, they've got those 3 imports. I like the idea of bringing Mikhail McIntosh off the bench. He's bringing a real X factor for them off the bench. Jack McVeigh, good opportunity for him to get some starters minutes there at the 4 spot. But Will Magnay needs to be a force for them inside in terms of if they're going to have a competitive season, they're going to win a bunch of games at home and make a little bit of noise from time to time on the road. Will Magnay needs to be that guy.
That's possibly the only thing you'd say that with Magnay out of the team in the 2 games they've played so far, Brisbane and Cairns, that the bigs for both teams were able to kind of get whatever they wanted, really. So hence the question about Magnay.
Well, he's a difference maker in that regard, isn't he? I mean, he was second in Defensive Player of the Year voting that year with Brisbane, whilst he won Most Improved. And that's really not playing a lot of minutes in the first half of the year. That's the kind of impact he had as he led the league in block shots. So if he can become a rim-protecting force for Scott Roth and that team, that'll be huge for them defensively.
That coming up at 3 o'clock Eastern Daylight Savings Time, so about an hour from now.
I'm interested to see what kind of run Nikita Mikhailovsky might get this afternoon as well. Only played 5 minutes in that last game against Cairns. We've seen, I tell you, the Next Stars have taken the league by storm over the last 48 hours.
Have they ever?
Tom Digbo for Brisbane. Usman Dieng last night. Hugo Besson's not technically a Next Star, but he might as well be, and he was outstanding with 24 points last night. And Ariel Huck-Porty nearly pulled the entire rim and stanchion at MSAC off, a la Shaq in the Meadowlands last night. So can Mikhailovsky get out there and get a bit of run, make a bit of noise himself this afternoon? Will be interesting to watch.
That coming up shortly. Just about ready to go for the second half. Just to recap, leading scorer for the Wildcats, Vic Law, has 13 points to go with 7 rebounds. Nate White, the leading scorer for Cairns and in the game, with 15 points on 7 of 8 shooting. Zimmerman got in the passing lane there. Perth still without Mitch Norton, out with a knee injury. Todd Blanchfield's going to miss certainly most of the first third of the season with a knee injury, and Corey Sherville not playing with a foot issue during the Blitz as well.
Interesting matchup here from the Taipans as Law flashes, gets open. They want McCall on Cotton. You can understand that. Zimmerman pushing it off the defensive rebound. It's interesting to see Machado not go to Mirko Jeric. They've put him on Luke Travers as McCall gets it underneath and draws the foul on Cotton. So, yeah, they've got Jeric guarding Kevin White. Sorry, I think I might have got those names a little mixed up. But Jeric guarding Kevin White and Machado going to Travers, who has been playing a little bit of secondary ball handler. And they want to make sure they got their import on him to keep him quiet.
McCall makes both. It's a point the difference at both quarter and half time. Zimmerman got a piece of Kevin White's shot. And Machado heads down low to Majuk Deng. He's back to the basket. That's Machado in the lane. That misses everything. Deng couldn't get his shot away over the long arms of Travers.
How's that block from Travers? Was he even off the ground?
No.
He's just so long. 2 hands straight up, and Deng couldn't get it up and over.
Taipans off the inbound. They have been running that play well today. Machado, lovely little shovel pass for Zimmerman.
He's got some energy about him, Stephen Zimmerman, to begin this second half. Great timing coming across the lane to block Kevin White. He's pushing the ball in transition, and there he's finishing at the rim. The Taipans get another stop.
Matt Hodgson, the latest of late signings for Perth. they had a vacancy, and he fills that spot nicely. McCall can see a path to the basket, takes it, and gives away the offensive foul.
Good D from Kevin White. Saw McCall coming down the lane, held his ground, held the spot, took the contact, and to Jim McCall, that might be his 4th personal, it is, so he comes out, and he'd been having a good impact. Just quietly going about stuffing the stat sheet, McCall, in that first half, so he checks out of the game with 7 points, 7 boards, and 4 assists.
They've also got Majuk Deng, who needs to be a little careful. He's got 3 fouls of his own with a long way to go in the game. Law extends over the top of Deng. Wildcats find themselves down 1. Machado surveys the floor. Eventually they found Zimmerman. He thought he was pushed. Official didn't share that view. Travers left open. His 3rd attempt from outside today. He hasn't been able to get it to go.
Well, you want to knock that down because the big fella, Matt Hodgson, had the mismatch down low. He really wanted it. Travers ignored it. We want him to be confident and aggressive from long range, but there, might have just rolled it into Hodgson down low.
Kevin White starting in the last 2 games of the Blitz with Mitch Norton not playing. Back into Hodgson. Got to his left hand, can't get it done. Numbers ahead for the Taipans, and Zimmerman had the seal on Cotton. Hodgson came across late and fouled him. He's having a good 3rd quarter.
Good job from Zimmerman, sealing up down low, had position, kept the defense out as he sealed him down low and just gave that target hand. Good job from the Taipans finding him, finished through the contact, and it's been a rough couple of possessions for Hodgson. Didn't get it down low, then he wanted to go to work on Majuk Deng, got the re-entry, couldn't finish, and then comes across late, picks up the personal.
Whatever Adam Ford had to say to Steven Zimmerman at halftime's worked. He now has 7 points. Cotton got open off the front of the rim. We'll get another chance. He was never going to miss 2.
He's so dangerous off those situations, Bryce Cotton. Offensive rebound for the Wildcats, kick out, always ready to fire, shoots such a high percentage on those situations.
That's a tough finish from Majuk Deng. He's played a really nice role for Cairns. Travers gave up that 3. Ball swings to Vic Law. He's having an afternoon. 18 points now on 6 of 10.
A good hit from Law. You can see Travers, he's a little bit inside his own head at the moment from long range. Zimmerman again, a target down low. Machado and Zimmerman developing their chemistry nicely. Travers, he's not sure when to shoot it, when to turn it down. He's just working his way through that right now.
Cotton got away from Kenny. Nails another 3 and puts the Wildcats back in front. 61-60. The double comes. Deng lost it. Vic Law just doing enough.
Well, the Taipans and Adam Ford have a Bryce Cotton problem right now. To Jim McCall, picked up that 4th foul. He's come out of the game, and Jared Kenny is having a difficult time keeping up with Cotton. He's been able to find himself open the last couple of possessions, knock it down. Jawai and Pinder both come into the game. Neither of them are going to solve that problem, and Kenny needs to try to stay attached to the 3-time MVP.
Sometimes easier said than done, isn't it, when it comes to Cotton? Seems to be absolutely no lasting impact of that hematoma injury from last year.
No, he's moving well. Good job from Scott Machado. He's aware of the problem right now. Kept an eye on Cotton off the ball and helped Kenny out, put out the fire.
Keanu Pinder checking in. First minutes of the game. Here he is. Well short on his first attempt. Kyle Zunic found a nice spot. He's got a beautiful left-handed stroke.
You think he meant that off the board?
Not so much.
Look at the expression on Kyle Zunic's face. You know he got a little fortunate there. He does have a good stroke. He's struggling with a little bit today.
Yeah.
He's been a little off the mark, but he'll take it any way he can get it.
Really adds to the Wildcats' depth. Finished his college career. So we see just in the background there, the exclusive news from Liam Santamaria that Will Magnay is playing. You can see him wearing number 22 for the JJs. Watching on as his former team lead by 4. What is the, to go back to the Will Magnay conversation, what's next for him? I mean, he's been to the NBA, Liam. He's been around the periphery, and last season was difficult. He was in isolation, he was injured, he wasn't fully fit, etc., etc. Where does he go from here?
He's just got to get back to getting in great shape, feeling good. Just focus on the here and now. Come back, play at a high level, have a really good season. Other opportunities, whether he gets another look at that NBA level, they'll come about as a result of how you play.
Yeah, okay.
And if you've got an eye elsewhere and you're not focused on what you're doing right here, you can get a little ahead of yourself. So I think that's got to be his focus. I think he's in a good spot. Scott Roth's going to give him plenty of opportunity. He's got a pass-first point guard in Majet, who's going to find him when he's open. And hopefully he can come back in this season, new environment, and have a really good season.
Kenny knocks down the 3. That'll do his confidence the world of good. Taipans trail it by 1 midway through the 3rd. Long rebound falls for Braden Inga. So Adam Ford has now given everyone an opportunity to step their foot on the floor this afternoon.
Wasn't much tick for Keanu Pinder.
No.
Was it?
No, that's not a great deal of burn for him.
He was in and out pretty quickly.
That was it was a hiccup, basically,
little
wasn't it?
Airball floater from short range, and that'll do you, big fella. But I tell you, just putting a cap on that Will Magnay conversation. I know the Jack Jumpers aren't playing right now. We're going to see him later this afternoon. But one thing you could say about Will Magnay, man's played in the NBA. Yeah. Nobody can ever take that away from him. It was brief. It was a cup of coffee at that level. But it's every kid's dream when you lace up your kicks and you grab a ball and you shoot at the hoop and you picture yourself playing at the NBA level. He's done it. And that is in the record books forever.
And that's why I asked the question, because it can be, which is one of the things that I really love about the NBA. Yes, it's brutal, and yes, they can make decisions on a whim and all that sort of stuff. But you can get other opportunities. The NBA is one league that when the door closes, that doesn't mean that it's closed forever. For anyone, basically.
For sure. But, you know, any of those guys, as Kenny wins it back, you know, any of those guys, Will Magnay, Isaac Humphries, Mitch Creek, those guys have played NBA regular season games, and that's an achievement that not many people can say they've accomplished.
When you were growing up, who did you want to be like as an NBA player?
That was, of course, I mean, that was the dream, right? But I got to be honest, in the backyard, for me, I was Andrew Gaze.
Were you?
I was shooting over the Russians at the glass house. as Vic Law knocks down the straightaway three.
Did
now,
you have Darren Lucas hanging out of your pocket in the backyard?
No, it was Marshall Onus and Alexander Volkov that were my imaginary defenders. Grew up having a very, very different game to the great man as Machado knocks down one from long range.
He needed that. Two of 10 shooting for the afternoon. As Kenny kind of pulled the chair out on Vic Law a little and then fouled him.
He's trying to pull a Casper Ware,
Yeah.
wasn't he? It wasn't completely successful, but quick enough hands to knock the ball away.
Officials just having a little chat about this one. Casey against the Russians.
Oh, mate.
I was not expecting you to say that.
Oh, well,
probably should have.
those who were there for the shot that
Yeah.
that Drewy hit at the glass house against the Russians. Geez, what year would that have been? That was mid-80s. We'll never ever forget it. One of the great shots in Australian basketball history.
Been prolific. Vic Law, that's 23 points for the afternoon. .245 to play in the third. Machado, nice pass and good read from Tajir McCall.
He did it with one shoe. Scott Machado just slides his kick back on, and beautiful movement off the ball. When you're playing with a guy like Scott Machado, you've got to be ready to move at the perfect time. He will find you. Zimmerman's learning that right now. Tajir McCall right there. Perfect timing as he slashes to the basket.
Back out there with 4 fouls, so you will need to be careful. Zernick travels.
This is an interesting lineup Scott Morrison's got on the floor here at the end of this third quarter. No Frazier, no Cotton, no Law. Not a lot of offense in this lineup right now.
Big rebound, Majuk, but Luke Travers called for a hold. A little off the ball, perhaps. You can see Kevin White talking to the group in that mini huddle there, just urging some composure for Perth. They've kind of been a little fidgety in the last few minutes. .15 points. 3 rebounds for Nate. He misses both.
I'm a little bit bemused
Yeah, I am too.
about that call.
I was trying to listen into what the official was saying.
If Luke Travers came in early, you'd expect that Nate Jawai would get another shot. So, not sure what that was.
Well, the official signalling a jump ball was the part that confused me. Anyway, didn't cost the Wildcats anything. Defensively, the Taipans strip it away from Travers. McCall relocates to the corner, misses everything. Perth not happy with that call. They thought it was last touch by Jawai. Machado running the point. Creates the switch, guarded by Majuk. Got it up with the right hand in the end, went underneath Majuk and drew contact.
Just did enough to create the contact, Machado, and get himself to the free throw line. And again, we talk about this lineup for the Wildcats, real sort of NBA style approach to the rotations this right now from Scott Morrison, where you know your big guns, you rest them at the end of the third quarter, maybe this first couple of minutes of the fourth, and then they're good to go the rest of the way. But it's not something we see a lot in the FIBA game and in the NBL, where you don't have any of your primary offensive weapons on the floor at all. And they're just having a bit of a look at it right now, but it has been a little clunky offensively over the last couple of minutes without any of Cotton, Frazier or Law out there.
And it's certainly, Liam, a different look for how Bryce Cotton is normally used as well. If anything, here he comes back on. He's a closer for quarters. He's going to get that chance to do it again here. With 1:30 left. Cotton straight back into the game and picking up where he left off.
And it's been a high volume of that kind of action. Cotton peeling off those staggered screens around the arc. Good find there from the Taipans. Great hands from Luke Travers. Coming in late to prevent that bucket from Jawai.
That was Braden Inger at the top of the key. The pass was spot on for Big Nate. Jarek had to work hard just to keep possession here for Cairns, and they go down to Jawai off the glass. He's giving Matt Hodgson all sorts of problems. He's giving Perth all sorts of problems.
Strong finish. Good ball movement from the Taipans. The Wildcats, hard show. Machado's getting it out of his own hands pretty quickly, letting other guys find the angle. And there, high-low across the floor for Jawai. Quick spin. Made his move quick there to get over his left shoulder to his right hand.
He's having a couple of issues from the line this quarter. Other than that, it's been hard to fold his game today. Cotton at the elbow. That's deep as Hodgson goes down. The Cairns have got the outnumber at the offensive end. Braden Inger off target. Jawai couldn't reel it in. Inger does. Follows up his miss. That's an offensive foul. He had Matt Hodgson cold.
Tough call. I think Hodgie was resigned to the fact that that whistle was on him. And his tough afternoon was continuing, but call Jawai for the hook.
See Mitch Norton standing up there on the Perth bench, just behind Scott Morrison. His final series last year will be as far as heroics go and playing through pain. I'll be talking about that for years to come, Wildcats fans. Played with a hip injury, was grimacing every time he had to run. That didn't stop him. And that'll be three-quarter time at the Ulverston Sports and Leisure Centre. The Taipans lead it by one, 73-72. Nate Jawai has 17 points for the Taipans, and Vic Law the leading scorer in the game with 23.
Tough, tightly contested third quarter. 2-point win for Cairns. They get 1 point for the Loggins Bruton Cup, and it's a 1-point game. And there's the bank from long range from Kyle Zunic, and you talk about Vic Law. He's been really good. 23 points, 8 rebounds, working on a double-double. 4 of those at the offensive end. 4 of those rebounds at the offensive end, 2 steals and a block. So he's starting to feel a little bit more comfortable in the Wildcats jersey. playing alongside Bryce Cotton, where he's going to get his shots from in this offense. And Nate Jawai with another good quarter as he continues to lead the way for the Snakes.
There are your leading scorers. Bryce Cotton has 17. Scott Machado 12. Stephen Zimmerman sitting on the bench at the moment. Just found himself in a little bit of foul trouble. Only has a couple, but picked up 2 in the space of 60 seconds. So Adam Ford being a little conservative with him.
Well, he's a couple of boards off a third straight double-double, Zimmerman. He's going to rack up a lot of them over the course of the season. And I wouldn't be surprised if Adam Ford maybe gave him the proverbial rocket at halftime, because did come out with a bit of extra energy, was a little bit more aggressive offensively, and got himself going a little bit. And I think they should make a bit more of a focus of him in this fourth quarter, because they were the chemistry, as we said, building between Machado and Zimmerman. They're starting to find their timing, get their angles right on those pick and roll actions, and he has proven himself at various stages of this game and the previous ones. Pretty tough cover down there.
What did you make of Adam Ford's comments after the first game, Liam? It was a loss. They've both been losses so far, but basically said there was a lot of what we spoke about in the change rooms that won't be repeated. But we dealt with some hard truths and we spoke about some non-negotiables.
Well, it was early to be going hard like that, wasn't it? But he's a fiery character, Adam Ford. He coaches to his personality, and sometimes you got to pick your spots a little bit in that regard. When you're gonna go hard, as Tajir McCall does enough to force the turnover on Vic Law. But look, the behaviour that you ignore is the behaviour you condone, and he's not about to let things slide.
Write that down.
That they want as a team.
Yep.
Not to have a part of what they do on a game-to-game basis.
Zimmerman underneath, finishes off, couldn't finish off with the right hand, fouled over the back.
And that's what we're talking about with Zimmerman. Pick, roll, seal up down low, and the Taipans doing a good job of making the extra pass around the perimeter to get the angle for those high-low passes.
18 and 11 in game 1, 16 and 11 in game 2. He has 11 and 8. Make that 12 and 8 this afternoon. Taipans ball from the baseline.
Well, Vic Law's frustration levels are pretty high right now. Just doesn't feel like the officials are getting much right.
Cairns throw it away. Cotton. It's clipped by Kenny. That's not their cleanest possession of the afternoon.
Well, it's pre-season. This is an important fourth quarter. This is actually an important game for both of these teams. Now, the wins, the losses, people don't remember too many of them from pre-season action. And they certainly don't, for the most part, dictate what's going to happen when things begin from December 3. But both these teams with new coaches on deck, a little bit of frustration from their first couple of hit-outs. Both of these teams really need a win, just like the Breakers over their last couple of games. They need a win to just start feeling good about things.
Get that winning feeling going.
Start believing in the system that the coach is putting in place. Get that winning feeling in place, as you say. And so, big 9 minutes ahead. We've got a tied ball game.
Good ball movement here from the Taipans. McCall found Kenny. Wasn't shown enough respect. Good pass, good finish. Nice offensive set from Cairns. McCall goes down, which meant that Wagstaff was open. He's off the front of the iron. And then a little foul after that.
Well, he's filling the box score to Jim McCall. The assist down one end, the defensive rebound right there. So he's got 9 points, 9 boards, 5 assists now. McCall.
Captain comes out of the game, and now a timeout called by the Perth Wildcats and Coach Scott Morrison. 8.5 minutes to play in this one.
Well, we're talking about Tajir McCall. You see him on your screen there momentarily, number 22 for the Snakes. And we've spoken about his defensive versatility. They've got him guarding Bryce Cotton. He's chasing him around those picks, working hard off over those screens. But then he can switch on and onto Vic Law, guard a guy like that, hold his own in the block. He's got great hands. It was interesting. Recently I had a chat with Adelaide import Todd Withers. And I asked him, I said, who's been a bit of an inspiration for you over the time? And he said, well, actually, a guy that I love to watch and try to play a bit like is Tajir McCall.
Is that right?
He said, I want to be Defensive Player of the Year this year in the NBL. He's coming in with that kind of mentality into that Adelaide 36ers lineup. And he said, what's cool for me is Tajir McCall's, he goes, I know he's going to be part of that conversation. And I'm going to need to beat a guy that I look up to and model some of my game after in order to achieve that goal.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Well, that, again, we've spoken so much about Adelaide, and we'll see them next and how they kind of intrigue us a little bit. Withers and McCarron and Sunday Deck, the way they all defend, it might be hard yards for opposition teams. Zimmerman found open under the basket. Nice play out of the timeout. The big man just hanging around underneath, and Taipans have found a way to reward him for that in the second half as Kevin White banks it home. Cuts it back to 2. Travers almost picked Deng's pocket. Jarrett got his 3 away, but Deng's called for the offensive foul, and that will be his 4th.
Spacing and timing all out of whack for the Taipans offensively there. No Scott Machado on the floor right now, and as a result, things just not operating quite as fluidly at the offensive end.
McCall, that pass is wild, and that backs up exactly what you were just talking about, Liam. Perth can tie it up off this possession or take the lead. Tajir McCall's got other ideas. Goes with the left hand. Try to keep Law away from it. They'll retain possession though.
Well, Scott Morrison won't enjoy that from Kevin White. Real laissez-faire approach around the perimeter as he tried to whip it behind his back and got led off the hook. And there you see the stat sheet stuffing performance from McCall. Still a bulk of this 4th quarter to go, and he's working on a double-double and then some.
Wagstaff back in, so they go with this small lineup again. Perth.
Well, this is where a guy like Machado would identify that Steven Zimmerman's their man next couple of minutes here. No Majuk, no Matt Hodgson. Give the ball to Zimmerman in the block. Give him a little space to operate. Let him go to work on Jesse Wagstaff. And if he starts to draw a double team, well, guys will get open, ready to make shots.
Jarrett for 3. Not that time. And then concedes the foul.
They found Zimmerman off the inbounds. The play ended up for Mirko Jarrett, catch and shoot from long range, but the double didn't instantly come for Zimmerman. If I'm the Taipans right now, make sure he knows it's time to be aggressive.
They lead it by 2. Law pulls up, Beautiful touch. He's had a game, Vic Law. Score's tied at 78. Jarek wanted a foul. Official didn't share that view. He goes himself and forces up a tough shot and gives away an offensive foul.
And this is where Jared Kenny needs to, to take that leadership role. He's going to check out. Scott Machado comes back in, but those last couple of possessions, it's not what they needed, the Taipans. Kenny, he was the point guard on the floor, needs to make sure everyone's on the same page. Contested long-range attempt, and then a out-of-control contested sort of floater down the lane. Meanwhile, Zimmerman had the mismatch that they didn't take advantage of.
They are prone to have these lapses in games, Cairns. It's hurt them in the blitz so far. It's Cotton stole it away from Majuk Deng. Wagstaff getting in deep on Zimmerman.
And on the flip side, that's high IQ basketball from Jesse Wagstaff, veteran savvy. Says, all right, well, I got a problem down the other end if they throw it in low and let the big fella go to work. But down this end, if I catch it facing up around that elbow area, I'm putting it on the floor. See if he can slide his feet and stay in front of me. Draws the contact, gets to the free throw line.
So every game matters here at the NBL Blitz, and every quarter matters at the NBL Blitz as well. We'll take a look at the ladder in just a moment. These two playing each other in round one. It'll be Perth's second game of the year. On the Friday, the season opener, they'll host the Adelaide 36ers. Then on the Sunday, they host the Cairns Taipans. For the Taipans, Liam, it will be their first game of the season, and it's the toughest assignment in the league. Go to Perth and win in the jungle.
It is, but I tell you, it can also propel you to great things if you can get over there and get something done.
Yep.
I can remember coming back from the NBL NBA preseason games 2 seasons ago, and as I stepped off the plane to arrive at Melbourne Airport, finally turned my phone back on, the news that the Taipans had beaten the Wildcats in the jungle came flashing up as a notification. It took me a moment to kind of get my head around it. It was completely unexpected, but that was the game, the win that propelled them on to that spectacular season. So, yes, it's a big task taking on the Wildcats in RAC Arena, but if you can pull something off and get a victory, that can create a lot more momentum than your typical road win will do.
And you'd suspect the Red Army, I mean, they flock to RAC anyway, but they'll know that Perth are going to be on the road for a little while, so they're going to get a limited opportunity with 5 games at the start of the season with Perth at home before they have to pack their bags. So if you want to see your boys play early in the season, I hope you've got tickets, because they're going to be hard to get. 5 games against Adelaide, Cairns, 2 against Brisbane, and 1 against Tasmania, all at home to open the season. December 28 is the first road game of the season for the Wildcats.
About how hard it is to get a seat at RAC Arena. Record membership sales for the Wildcats. Absolutely outstanding result, considering the high bar that they're already trying to beat. And they cap their memberships just to make sure that some general punters and some daytime arrivals can get in the building. So they're having no trouble selling tickets out west.
What a good problem that is to have. I reckon there's a lot of other teams in the league that would love to have to cap their memberships.
Meanwhile, here's a problem that Majuk would rather not have. Nate Jawai wheeling over his right shoulder that time, finishing with the lefty hook. And again, we see that 2 big lineup, Zimmerman and Majuk and Jawai for the Snakes.
And that's the 3 ball that Luke Travers has been desperately trying to knock down all afternoon. Straight back down to Jawai. McCall late in the clock. There is the big man, and there's 2 more. They have no answer. They simply have no way of stopping him. Travers back-to-back trebles. Here he comes.
That is the answer, though. Meanwhile, down the other end, the Wildcats spreading the floor, and Jawai, he doesn't want to go out there. Got a guy like Luke Travers out on the perimeter. Back-to-back triples from the youngster.
Perth are out by 4 now. McCall baseline. This is the layup from underneath. And Zimmerman called for a foul. That'll be number 4 for him.
Oh my, he'd want that back to Jim McCall. Just had the easy finish on the reverse layup, and he left it short.
Zimmerman and Jawai out there together. We have had a little look at it in the first half. There's a few teams this year who might be able to employ the Twin Towers at various stages.
It's not something you see too often,
No.
the modern day game, but Adam Ford just trying to find ways in which he can get an advantage. Would love to get a win over his former team. Has never beaten the Wildcats as a head coach. Adam Ford,
There you
the
go.
team he won championships with and cut his teeth as part of that program.
Coming up to 4 minutes remaining. Zimmerman hard at the basket. Met at the summit though by Law. Cotton pulls the trigger. Much better from Perth.
Great passage of play. Great contest at the rim from Vic Law. And then finding Cotton in transition on the arc.
Machado misses the layup. Zimmerman playing with 4, had to be careful. Cotton looking for back-to-back threes. He's off target. The Taipans are just hanging in right now. Wildcats making a move late in the game.
Well, I've had some good opportunities close to the bucket. McCall on the reverse layup. Zimmerman had the chance to finish, and that's the kind of pop I'm talking about with Zimmerman. That, previously, a couple of seasons ago, he'd have been above the rim, finishing that with authority all over Vic Law's head. But right now, just doesn't have quite that explosion off the ground, and as a result, the smaller Law are able to contest that finish, and he needs to get back to a place where if he catches it anywhere around that restricted area, he's finishing with authority.
He's sitting down at the moment. Jawai over the top of Majuk. That felt a little forced. Taipans have gone a bit cold late in the game. Not that time for Law. Long outlet pass for Deng. Found himself trapped under the backboard. The Wildcats run the floor. Travers upstairs for the dunk.
Timeout, Adam Ford. Taipans want to talk about a good few minutes for Perth. This game could have swung in either direction. We spoke about how it was important for these teams. One of them was going to come out of here with a win on the board. The other, a third straight loss. And the Wildcats have stamped their authority on proceedings.
They've scored the last 9 points in the game. And it's become a little unglued. This feels a little more like it from Perth's point of view. At both ends of the floor, Liam.
Yeah, really good last few minutes. The Taipans have run out of steam. And we spoke about their missed opportunities close to the bucket. Also some strange decisions. I would have liked to have just kept things a bit simpler these last few minutes. Not sure if Scott Machado's had enough of the rock in the right spots on the floor. This is crunch time. This is winning time. Keep it simple. Spread the floor. High pick and roll with Machado. Let Zimmerman or Jawai roll to the rim. Seal up. Machado will make good decisions. But they have gone dry offensively, and down the other end, the Wildcats have made them pay.
So the Wildcats led by 11. Cairns led by 9. And now the Wildcats are back out to an 11-point lead. It has been that sort of game where it's been a game of runs. We are a fraction overtime for this game, so the next game between Adelaide and Tasmania will start a little bit later than 3 p.m. for those following along at home. Give you a chance to grab a cuppa, maybe a sandwich or something like that. Reload for the 36ers and the Jack Jumpers to come as game 2 of our Sunday doubleheader.
I can recommend some popcorn and some vitamin water. Get the job done, Jack.
Is that right? That was the fare of choice at MSAC the other night, wasn't it? After
went down well.
After some scumbag threw you under the bus. Law can't get the fall away, Jay, to go. It's knocked out of bounds. I thought that was last touch by Tajir McCall.
Vic Law feels similarly. Just cannot believe it. Feels like every 50-50 call has gone against him tonight, Vic Law. But how quick were the hands from Bryce Cotton? Man, he's got quick hands.
I think Tajir McCall might have even had a little smile about that. I think he knows that that was off him. Now Jarek short on the 3. Zimmerman thought he was fouled and then gave away the foul, and that should see the end of the big man. Personal foul number 5.
Wasn't the fourth quarter. He wanted to have Zimmerman. Just wasn't really able to have the impact. And you can see a bit of frustration from him. 14 points, 8 rebounds as he fouls out 23 minutes of playing time.
Perth go to the other end of the floor to shoot free throws. What a huge positive this has been, the performance of Vic Law. That's 26, 11 rebounds, 4 of them offensive, a couple of steals and a couple of blocks. Such a versatile player. He's involved at both ends of the floor. It's been a great afternoon for him. He rolls out for 3 this time. That rattles out. Majuk can't tip it in. Last touch by the Wildcats. You would think from here they've got this one under control. They'll play again on Wednesday against the Jack Jumpers, right here at the Ulverston Sports and Leisure Centre. And then on Friday, we'll finish up at the Elfin Sports Centre against the Adelaide 36ers. Head home after that, have a few days in their own bed, and then into the season. That's not happening for Deng. It really hasn't been happening for Cairns at all in this last quarter. Nice pass, Jarek. Tajir McCall. Vic Law's not going to be happy with that.
Well, he hasn't been happy.
Happy with anything today.
Many of the calls, especially in this second half. But you're right, it was a good find from Jarek. Finally got something going towards the basket. Contested 3 from Jarek. Contested 3 from Deng. Just hadn't been getting the kind of looks that they needed throughout this 4th term. And McCall able to finish that one at the rim.
Last minute of action. Both teams in the bonus, so Vic Law's going to walk to the other end and have a couple of free throws. Scott Machado not too pleased with that. This last quarter, Liam, 22-12, Perth have won it so far. which is a good thing. In the 2 games they've played, they've had the game up for grabs in the last quarter and probably haven't gone out and grabbed it. Today they've played with a bit more authority in the last.
For sure. No, it's been a big tick for them in their crunch time execution, both ends of the floor. Meanwhile, down the other end, can't say that for the Taipans. Especially offensively, I feel like they've let themselves down. Not enough Scott Machado for mine in this 4th term. Just controlling the game, controlling what they were doing offensively. And as a result, I just didn't feel like they were going to the right guys in the right spots. It was a bit of just launch it up over a hand and hope something goes down. And meanwhile, the Wildcats getting it in the right people's hands. Cotton, Law, combining for 48 of their 96 points. So half of their points, and a lot of them in the 4th quarter, and then a couple of knockdowns from Luke Travers as well as they executed and found the open man.
Tajir McCall playing right to the end. He's been a big positive for the Taipans. He knocks that one out of play. Look at the crowd. Barely a spare seat available now. Jack Jumpers are making a lot of noise right across Tasmania, Liam. It's not all about Hobart. They are Tasmania's team. You can see a lot of JJ singlets in the crowd. We'll see them very soon against the Adelaide 36ers. That game, and of course every game of the Blitz, live and free on KO Freebies. All in the lead up to the season starting on December the 3rd. Here's Mitch Clark for Perth, getting some minutes late in the game. Law winds the clock down. Pulls up from a long way outside the arc. Tried to bank it home. Very nearly did. Machado misses everything.
Well, the frustration builds for the Taipans. You see it written all over Scott Machado's face there as they take their 3rd loss in a row at the Blitz.
And the Wildcats get their first win of the Blitz, 96-87, set up on the back of outscoring the Taipans by 10 in the last quarter. When the game was there to be won, the Wildcats went and got it.
Good signs from the Wildcats. The Red Army will enjoy that. There you see Mitch Norton. He's a key piece that still isn't out there. Corey Sherville and Jack Purchase there. And Todd Blanchfield, of course, as well. So some key guys not playing. And Michael Frazier only 7 minutes on the floor. But in the 4th quarter, Bryce Cotton, Vic Law, Luke Travers, those guys all stepped up, played really well, executed at both ends of the floor, and did enough to gain control and get their first win on the board.
Talk to us about Vic Law, Liam. 28 points, 12 rebounds, couple of steals, couple of assists, shot the ball at 47% from the field. In fact, make that 44% from the field from that last attempt. That was just a really complete game today.
Really good night at the office for Vic Law. And just spent those first couple of games trying to get comfortable, find his feet and where he fits into the offense. But he's a baller, Vic Law. Some nice plays as well from Tajir McCall, who had a good first 3 quarters. But all night long, Vic Law was in attack mode. He was taking advantage of smaller guys in the block. He was facing up and knocking in shots from long range. And he was getting himself to the free throw line. And all of that is what made him just an outstanding signing from them in the off-season. It's why the Bullets wanted to bring him back. I think they've pivoted nicely and got a good replacement in Robert Franks. But Law is an all-NBL level performer when he is healthy and feeling good. And he put that on display tonight.
Are you seeing him and Cotton start to work it out as well?
No doubt that they're going to be a good combination. Their games will work together nicely. You know, Law, if the attention that Cotton gets is going to help Law, vice versa. And they're both versatile guys at the defensive end. Cotton can guard the 1 and the 2. Law can guard the 3 and the 4. And they're just two high-level players that I think are going to be a dynamic combination over the course of the year.
And the upside, as you say, Michael Frazier only playing 7 minutes, had 8 points, but looked more aggressive this afternoon. For the Cairns Taipans, their leading scorer and their biggest shining light, no doubt, Nate Jawai, 21 points on 10 of 13 shooting.
Jawai was good, for sure. As you say, 10 of 13, and made a real presence of himself down low. Took advantage of Matt Hodgson at times, Majuk, anybody down low. Jawai was going to work. And Tajir McCall, I thought, was also really good. 14 points, 13 rebounds, and 6 assists. Stat sheet stuffing performance from him. They didn't get enough from Majuk Deng tonight. And I felt like Scott Machado needed to be a little bit more aggressive as well. He struggled from the field, 2 of 13. Continued to struggle from long range, 1 of 8. He's now 3 of 18 from three-point territory across the blitz. But in the fourth quarter, the ball needed to be in his hands nonetheless. And I don't know that it was there often enough. So still some things to work out for the Taipans as they work their way through the preseason.
So full time in game 1 of the Sunday doubleheader. The Wildcats winning the first one, 96-87. We'll take a short break here from the Ulverston Sports and Leisure Centre. Come back in around 15 minutes from now for game 2 between the Adelaide 36ers and the Tasmania Jack Jumpers.